What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Something About Sports podcast. It's your host, once again, Leon Edwards. Back with another episode pretty quickly after the last episode. I actually just uploaded the Kansas Jayhawks NCAA Tournament preview. This one, for you guys, for the viewers, you'll see it looks a little different. For you guys listening, this is going to be the NCAA tournament preview as a whole. This year, I'm just going to pretty much hop right into it. I'm going to run through picks, fill out a bracket here on the app on my phone. This is actually the first bracket I'm filling out, so it'll spark me to fill out a few more after this because I haven't done my brackets yet. So I'm going to get my brackets in. But, so I'll fill this bracket out. I'll talk about some of the teams, upsets that I picked, things like that, and then we'll just kind of go that way. But I want to hop right in because I don't want this to be too long. So first game, I'm starting off in the East region. 1 seed UConn against 16 seed Stetson. Pretty much going to go chalk there. We know we're picking UConn. 8 seed FAU versus 9 seed Northwestern. Give me FAU in that one. Now, this is a little bit chalky so far. We'll go 5 seed San Diego State versus 12 seed UAB. I'll take San Diego State here. 4 seed Auburn versus 13 seed Yale. So Auburn's one of those teams that everybody's hyping up right now. And a lot of times when that happens, those teams tend to lose. So this is going to be the first upset I pick here. A bold 13-4 upset over Auburn, who's a really good team. But I'll pick Yale over Auburn here. Ivy League teams are always pesky in the tournament too. So we'll go Yale over Auburn. First upset pick, I've got a BYU versus Duquesne. 6 seed BYU versus 11 seed Duquesne. Duquesne had a nice run in their conference tournament, but wasn't a good team in the regular season. Sometimes that's a recipe for having a good run in the tournament. I went kind of chalky early, so I'll go ahead and go with Duquesne, even though BYU is one of those teams that's dangerous, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them, in Sweet 16, Elite 8 level, because they shoot a lot of threes, they can get up and down, and they play a lot of guys. So I'm picking them to get upset here just because I don't want this bracket to be too chalky. But I wouldn't be surprised if BYU did make a run. But I'm picking Duquesne in this bracket. And then we've got Illinois, Morehead State. I'll go ahead and roll with Illinois through. Washington State versus Drake. I don't know a whole lot about either one of these teams. I do know Drake has Tucker Devries, who's really good. Probably the best player in this game. I know Joe Yesufu, former Kansas basketball player. You guys may not care about that, but I know he played there. I think he's out for the season now. But I think I'm going to pick Drake here. They'll have the best player on the floor. I watched them play a game a couple weeks ago. They got a really good guard on their team, too, that I like. So Tucker Devries is a wing, son of the coach, really good player. But I'll go with that 10-7 upset with Drake going to the round of 32. Excuse me, guys. And then I've got Iowa State versus South Dakota State. And I kind of want to cheat because you got to pick a 215 with kind of how recent tournaments have been going. But I don't know if I want to pick this one as my 215. I think I may save it. Even though South Dakota State is really good, they've got a Kansas City native, Zeke Mayo, on their team. They're another team that wants to score, be a contrasting style with Iowa State. But Iowa State's a team that I think can weather that storm, and they play really good defense, and I think they'll be able to stifle South Dakota State enough. Give me Iowa State there, and then we'll just move through the whole region. I'll go region by region as I normally do here. So UConn over FAU. So this was actually tough because a lot of times when those Cinderella teams make it, you don't always trust them to make it again. And FAU was a Cinderella team all the way to the Final Four. But then you've got that conflicting with a defending national champions not making the second weekend, even though UConn's probably the best and most consistent team in college basketball this year. History just says those teams end up losing. And a lot of that team for UConn is back. It's hard for me to see them losing this early in the tournament, but it's also hard for me to pick FAU to win. It's hard for me to see them making a run. So you kind of got history conflicting against itself here. This is a tough one, guys, because I don't want to go chaos either. This is actually a tough one. Like I said, this is my first bracket, so I'm going through all of these decisions for the first time. I don't want to go too chalky, but I don't want to get too crazy with the bracket either. I'll go ahead and push UConn through. Give me UConn. They'll defy history, even though that's hard for me to say now. So with UConn here, I've got 3 double-digit seeds, which one of them at least has to make it to the second weekend. San Diego State versus UConn, another one of those conflicting, weird kind of things because San Diego State made it to the national championship game last year. There's another team who made a run as a lower seed. So they would be another team kind of defying history. So I guess let's go with some chaos here with 13 seed Yale. Oh, that's ugly because then you got UConn pretty much in the Elite Eight. Let's just roll. We're rolling. 13 seed Yale taking down San Diego State. This will be fun. All right, and now we've got Duquesne versus Illinois. I think the Duquesne run can stop there. So give me Illinois here, and then you got Drake versus Iowa State. Drake is a team that scores. Iowa State's more of a defensive kind of pest. I got a double-digit seed through already. Everything else will be chalk. Give me Iowa State here. So we've got a UConn versus Yale matchup in the Sweet 16. I think Yale's got to get stopped there. UConn's moving through to the Elite Eight as a defending champion, getting really, really close to that repeat, or at least a repeat Final Four. I won't pick that until after. And now I've got Illinois, Iowa State. Iowa State plays a lot of defense, but their offense at some point is going to fade in this tournament. They don't have a great offense, and I think this round might be where it fades. Illinois will have the best player on the floor and a guy that can score 40 anytime. Terrence Shannon may just put the team on his back in this tournament. So give me Illinois here. We've got Elite Eight, UConn versus Illinois. This is a tough one because it's hard for me to see anybody beating UConn, but the history at some point has to catch up with UConn. I'm going to have to take Illinois here. I would have never gone into this saying I'd pick Illinois to be in my Final Four, but that's where we are. So Illinois, Final Four out of the East region, 3 seed. Now we're going to move to the West region. You got 1 seed North Carolina versus 16 seed Wagner. Give me North Carolina here. You got 8 seed Mississippi State versus 9 seed Michigan State, who a lot of people think shouldn't have even been in the tournament. Those kind of blue bloody kind of programs that sneak in usually win a game. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry. It's getting kind of late, and I haven't recorded podcasts late in a while. So you guys got to bear with me here. But we're still pushing through. I'm going to pick Michigan State. As I was saying, they tend to win games. Give me Michigan State through. 5 seed St. Mary's versus 12 seed Grand Canyon. So this is an interesting one because I have a special sentimental connection to Grand Canyon. Tyon Grant Foster, the WAC player of the year, Grand Canyon's best player. Not only is he from Kansas City, one of my best friends was his cousin. And funny story, you guys know me. I'm always connected, always locked in with my teams. KU basketball is one of the teams that I follow really closely. And, excuse me, when Tyon Grant Foster was coming out of JUCO, my friend, one of my best friends, Jordan, rest in peace now, he passed away a couple years back. He's telling me, like, yeah, my cousin's coming to KU. He went to Schlegel. His name's Tyon Grant Foster. I'm like, yeah, I know, I know of him. He's told me about him before, of course, when he was in high school and all of that. But then I'm just like, I haven't heard anything about this. Like, and I'm kind of skeptical about it. But then eventually it pops up. He ends up coming to Kansas for a season. It doesn't really work out for him at Kansas, but he's bounced back really well. He's playing really well. He'll probably be the best player on the floor in a lot of these games. He's playing his way up draft boards. And I say all that to say it's hard for me to pick against him. And I went into this knowing that I wanted to pick this upset. So I'm going to go Grand Canyon over St. Mary's, who surprised a lot of people this year, won the West Coast Conference, won the West Coast Conference over Gonzaga, and then also won the West Coast Conference Tournament over Gonzaga. So proves to be a really good season for them. But I'm going to pick Grand Canyon to pull the upset. And then you've got Alabama versus College of Charleston. Alabama's a team that gets up and down. They score a lot of points. And I think that a matchup between them and Grand Canyon would be nice. I'm going to pick Alabama here to get out of the first round. You got New Mexico versus Clemson. New Mexico, a really pesky team. Clemson, a team that's also played really well this year. in a tough not a tough ACC, an okay ACC. ACC actually wasn't really that good. I think I want to pick an upset because of that. So give me 11 seed New Mexico over Clemson, which also kind of that's ugly because I got the family Clemson ties too. I don't want to just go upset here now because New Mexico's a team that's getting a lot of pub, but also that's family. The Clemson's the family school. You guys, a lot of you guys that know me know my dad's from South Carolina. I've had cousins play basketball at Clemson. I'll be cheering for Clemson in the game, but for bracket purposes, it feels like I need to pick another upset. But maybe I can get another. Oh yeah, I can sneak another one in here. So yeah, we'll roll Clemson here. Sorry guys, you guys are getting this thought process. First time I'm really kind of even looking through the bracket and doing this. So you're getting this thought process with me. Give me Clemson through to the second round. You got Baylor versus Colgate. I think Colgate beat somebody else recently. They had like an upset recently. Let me look that up real quick because I want to know if they have. If they haven't, then they might be due. I'm doing all this and they're playing against Baylor, who's a really good team. I don't think. Okay, so Colgate's. I think they've put up a fight in a couple of these games. They've never won one of them, so they may be due. I want to pick an upset. I don't know that this bracket gets this weird and chaosy this early, but I mean, I guess you got to have some fun stuff in here. So and I'm just picking all these Big 12 teams to lose too. It's just weird. I guess I had Iowa State going kind of far. Yeah, I don't know why. I want to pick Colgate. I'm going Colgate here. They feel due. It might be time for them to go ahead and pull one of these upsets. So give me Colgate. You got a Dayton versus Nevada matchup. I'll be honest, I don't know very much about either one of these teams. I'm just gonna go chalk here because I'm getting crazy. Give me Dayton. And then I knew I wanted to pick a 15-2 upset. And Marquette might be a good target later because Western Kentucky, I hear, is a good team. Arizona's also, I wanted to target them because of the coach's story and the players playing for the coach who got fired, who's now pretty much playing for free and did his whole like George Costanza thing in his press conference. So I kind of want to see his team get a win, but I'm going to go ahead and pick Arizona to beat Long Beach State in that one. So I'll pick Arizona to move through here in the round of 32 for the West region. I've got North Carolina versus Michigan State. North Carolina is a team that I think is really good this year. I think they're really good. I think they can contend to go to a Final Four, and I don't think Michigan State is all that great, honestly. Um, I think the buck stops there for Michigan State. I've got another one seed through to the second weekend. Um, so we've got North Carolina over Michigan State. You got Grand Canyon versus Alabama. I think this will be a really fun game. I think it'll be an up and down game. I've already got a double-digit seed through to the Sweet 16. Do we really think we'll have two double-digit seeds through to the Sweet 16? I'm not completely sure. Um, I think I want to roll chalk here and go Alabama. I think that's the safe bet. I've gotten kind of crazy in some of the other spots, so give me Alabama Sweet 16 over Grand Canyon. I think the run stops there for Tyon and the guys, but they'll still be able to get some pub, and Tyon will be able to raise his NBA draft stock. So that'll be fun and a fun game also. Um, you got Clemson versus Colgate. What a matchup. You just don't see these double-digit seeds getting through to the second weekend at super high clips. It's going to be hard for me to pick that. So I'm going to go with Clemson going through as a 6 seed here. And then you've got Dayton versus Arizona. This will be another 2 seed through to the second weekend. I think I like that. So we'll go Sweet 16, North Carolina, Alabama, Clemson, and Arizona. So give me all the 1 seeds can't make it to the Elite Eight. So a 1 seed has to lose eventually. I know that I've got 2 more regions left, and I know I don't fully believe in Purdue. Houston's a super popular pick to make it far. So somebody's got to make it eventually. Give me the Alabama upset. I like Nate Oates. I like that they can get up and down offensively. They don't play a lot of defense, but maybe they can spark something offensively against North Carolina. I'll take Alabama in that one. And then you got Clemson versus Arizona. Give me Arizona. They haven't made a deep run in a while, but they have a good team this year. Caleb Love's made deep runs in the tournament before. He's having a really good season. Give me them Alabama versus Arizona in the Elite Eight. This is another tough one to pick here. Arizona hasn't been to a Final Four in a while, but they, like I said, I do think they have a good team this year. I also like this Alabama team, and I think if they made it that deep. I just lost my bracket, so I've got to recreate it real quick, guys. Sorry. Give me just a sec. But what I was saying is, if Alabama made it that deep in the tournament, that would mean that they're probably shooting the lights out and having a really good offensive tournament. So, in that case, I'd probably want to pick them to win that game. Sorry, you guys. I am just I'm redoing this bracket real quick to get all my picks back in here. All right. So we would have Illinois. You have Alabama versus Arizona. That'll be a tough one. Because Arizona, if they make it this far too, that means they're playing at their potential and playing really good basketball, and they've got a lot more pieces. So this will be a tough one to decipher here. Let me go Arizona. I'll go Illinois versus Arizona as that first side of the Final Four. So that is no 1 seed so far in the Final Four. All right. So now we'll look at the South region. I've got Houston, 1 seed Houston versus 16 seed Longwood. Give me Houston here. Really, really good team, having a really good season. You got Nebraska versus Texas A&M. I actually think this is going to be a really fun game. I'm a huge Wade Taylor fan. I think that Texas A&M also has other good players on there. I like Tyrese Radford, who's also a veteran, really good player who can get hot at any time. Manny Obaseki is a guy who's been stepping up recently down the stretch for them. Has had some big scoring performances. Really like him as well. And then for Nebraska, they've had a really good season under Fred Hoiberg. Kisei Tominaga has been a really big story, and has been a lightning bolt from three. A really one of those fan favorite type of guys, and one of those guys that ignites the team when he's making deep threes and pulling up from crazy Steph range threes. So that could be a game that becomes a track meet or just becomes a really fun offensive battle. That's a tough one to pick because I just like Texas A&M. I like Buzz Williams. I'm a big fan of what they have going, and I'm a big fan of the guys on that team. And it's hard for me to pick against them, even though I feel like Nebraska's having a good year too. But I think I'm going to go ahead and pick Texas A&M there in that game. I think I picture them winning that one. 9 seed Texas A&M over 8 seed Nebraska. I don't think I said their seeds. Now you've got a 5 seed Wisconsin versus 12 seed James Madison. Not all the 12 seeds will win, so give me Wisconsin in this one. You got 4 seed Duke versus 13 seed Vermont. Duke's always right for an upset, but I think they do win this one. So give me Duke versus Wisconsin next round. Then you've got NC State, hot NC State team who just made an improbable run through the ACC tournament against a Texas Tech team that had a I would say an improbable season in the Big 12. Not a lot of people expected them to be 6 seed good in the Big 12, especially as deep as the Big 12 was this year. I think Texas Tech is a decent team. I think they could be right for an upset. So I'm going to pick an upset here. Give me NC State in that one over Texas Tech, which would be another 11-6 Big 12 upset, which is another kind of one of those weird things that as you fill out brackets, you start to think about those things and want to go change picks. But we'll just ride with what we got. I'll take NC State over Texas Tech. You got 3 seed Kentucky versus 14 seed Oakland. Oakland's another team that's been a popular upset pick for people. Kentucky's the team that I think people think can make a run this year. They've got a lot of talent, a lot of young talent, a lot of different guys that can step up in different games. And I think they handle business in the first round here. I'm going to take Kentucky in this first round. In this first round matchup. And then you've got 7 seed Florida versus 10 seed Boise State or Colorado. That game is wrapping up as we speak. It's over now. It scored a lot less. There was a lot less points scored than I anticipated would be scored going in. But Colorado won that game, who I actually was a big fan of. I thought they had a chance to make a run. I also do like Florida's team. They have a good team also. Got a chance to watch them in person a couple weeks ago when they played Vanderbilt. But I'm going to pick Colorado in this one. I like Colorado's offense. I like the depth that they have, the NBA talent they have on the roster. I think they've got some good players, and so I'll take Colorado in that one as the upset. And then you've got the 2-15 game with Marquette in Western Kentucky. You don't know what's going on with Tyler Kolek, and if he comes back, he also hasn't played in a while. I think this is the most likely 15-2 upset. I kind of like the Long Beach State one versus Arizona. I think there's a chance there for that one, but the Western Kentucky one's the one I'm going to pick in my bracket. So I'll go Western Kentucky 15 seed over 2 seed Marquette. All right. Now, you've got in the round of 32 here in the South region, I've got Houston versus Texas A&M. Give me Houston. I think Houston's just too good for most teams in the country, and I think they're going to have a fairly sweat-free route to the second weekend. So I got Houston over Texas A&M. As much as I do like Texas A&M, I hate that draw for them to have to face Houston in the second round. You got 5 seed Wisconsin versus 4 seed Duke. As impressive as Wisconsin's been over the last couple of weeks and their run was in the Big Ten tournament, I still don't know that they have the talent to match Duke. And Duke hasn't played their best basketball recently, but they're super talented and deep, and they can beat you in a lot of different ways, and I think they'll have enough to overwhelm Wisconsin. So I'm taking Duke, a chalky matchup here, 1-4 matchup coming in the Sweet 16 in that first pod. And then you got an NC State-Kentucky matchup. I don't know that Kentucky gets to this level and loses, especially with that level of talent. If they get out of that first round matchup against an Oakland team that people think could beat them, I think you're seeing them go to the second weekend. So I'm taking Kentucky here. And then you got the Boise State, Colorado versus Western Kentucky. I don't know why I keep saying Boise State. That is Colorado now. It just hasn't updated yet in this bracket, but that's Colorado now. And I'm going to take Colorado to the second weekend, a team that I've liked as a sleeper. You got a 1 seed Houston versus 4 seed Duke here in the Sweet 16. I'm going to take Houston to go ahead and advance to the Elite 8. And then you got 3 seed Kentucky versus Colorado. That's actually a tough one because I can see if Colorado gets to this point, I can see them making a run. This game was just a low-scoring game that they won tonight, and that's not even how they've been playing. So I think that's a tough one that you could see a huge shootout. Kentucky versus Colorado could be a game that ends up in the hundreds because Kentucky doesn't play defense and Colorado's been super high scoring recently. So I think I gotta take the talent of Kentucky. I think, but I don't know though. No, something's telling me to take Colorado here. Give me Colorado. So give me 10 seed Colorado through to the Elite 8. Something's telling me to take that one. And then you would have a Houston versus Colorado matchup in the Elite 8, in which I'll take Houston to advance to the Final Four out of the South region. I do know that Houston has their flaws offensively. They can get stale, but they're just really, really good. And I think that they'll be focused after that blowout loss in the Big 12 championship, and they'll at least be focused enough and be good enough to make a Final Four run. So I do think Houston is that good. I think they are good enough for a Final Four run. So give me Houston to the Final Four out of the South region. Let's take a look at the Midwest region, this last region to make picks in. So first you got 1 seed Purdue versus 16 seed Grambling, who just had a thrilling overtime victory tonight as well. Taking Purdue through in that one, even though they have been known to give up first round upsets to double-digit seeds. I do not think that's happening this year. And then in that game, to determine who they're playing against, you're looking at Utah State and TCU. I don't know a whole lot about Utah State. I do think this was a popular pick. I've watched TCU a little bit. I don't think TCU is super good. I think TCU is okay. I mean, the Big 12 was whew, excuse me, like I said before, super deep. So TCU's seen a lot of good teams, but I don't think they are actually that good of a team. So I'll take Utah State to take down TCU in the first round. They've got 5 seed Gonzaga versus 12 seed McNeese. The 5-12 matchups are matchups that people like to pick. It's one that happens very, very often. I think I picked the Grand Canyon 12-5 matchup here. I think McNeese is a popular one because of Will Wade being the coach. McNeese has won 30 games this year. They'll get up a lot of threes. This has been a down year for Gonzaga. They've been much more of a traditional mid-major team, as I talked about in the KU preview as well. So I think this will be a popular upset pick for sure. But I don't know that I see. I don't know that I see him pulling it off. This is a tough one because I want to pick that McNeese upset, but it's hard for me to pick it with already picking a 12-5. But I think I do want to pick it. Man, I think that is a tough one. This is probably one of the tougher games that I've had to pick as well. Give me Gonzaga there. I'll go ahead and pick Gonzaga, and I'm going to go chalk with Kansas. I think Kansas does overwhelm Stanford just based off of talent and size. You got an Oregon team, 11 seed Oregon versus 6 seed South Carolina. Another team with hometown ties. But that also is kind of like one of those things where it's like when you fill out a bracket, you got to like spread it out. So Oregon's a team that's hot right now. They just made a run through the Pac-12 tournament. I'll give them a pass through to the second round out of this bracket. It's funny, too, because I think Clemson was also in a 6 seed. So Clemson and South Carolina were both 6 seeds in this bracket. Funny. Anyways, 3 seed Creighton versus 14 seed Akron. Creighton's a popular pick. That's a team that a lot of people are saying they could see making it out of this bracket. So those are always a lot of the times the teams that you can pick for an upset, but I don't want to pick that because I already picked a 14-3 upset with the Baylor game with Colgate over Baylor, who I feel is more due anyway. They've been around for a few years now in the tournament. They're due for an upset. So I'll go Creighton through to the second round here. You got a 7 seed Texas against 10 seed Colorado State, who obliterated Virginia last night, to make it into this field. Texas has a lot of talent. They've really underwhelmed this year, but they do have a lot of talent, and they've got Max Abmas, who has had his March moments. I believe was Oral Roberts a 15 seed when they made it to the Sweet 16. I can't remember, but he has had his March moments. I think I'll take Texas. I've been picking against like every Big 12 team, and Texas is probably the one I feel the worst about. And of course, I get to the end of the bracket and I pick them. But anyways, I'll take Texas through to the second round. You got 2 seed Tennessee versus 15 seed St. Peter's. I don't know if St. Peter's is going to do it again this year. I think I got to take Tennessee there, even though Tennessee is very, very good and well known for giving up an upset, just like Purdue, just like Kansas, just like Gonzaga. These are a lot of teams that are due for that. So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it ends up all playing out. But you got Purdue versus Utah State. This is a tough one because Purdue, like I said, they're just always prone to slipping up. But I think at least this time, I'm going to go ahead and push them through to the second weekend. Which actually will be having every single 1 seed to the second weekend. So I can't do that now. So I actually have to pick Utah State to the second weekend. So Utah State upsets Purdue in the round of 32. You got a Gonzaga versus Kansas matchup in which, as a Kansas fan, this is just not a good season for Kansas. They'll be without arguably their best player, Kevin McCullough. And I think the road just ends for Kansas there. They haven't been playing good basketball. Gonzaga has been playing good basketball recently. And I think that Gonzaga would have enough to get past Kansas in that one. You've got an 11 seed Oregon versus 3 seed Creighton. Momentum would be big in that Oregon game, but I think I think I want to go ahead and push. That's another tough one. That's another tough one because I think I do like Dana Altman as a coach. I do think Oregon can score some points. They can get up and down. That's a tough one. You got to get a. Do I have a Pac-12 team in the second weekend? I got Arizona, I guess, going through because they always, when they have bad seasons, that's another thing. They always sneak teams in. Give me Oregon in that one. Just as a weird upset. I think this bracket gets funky, so give me Oregon there. You got Texas versus Tennessee. Give me Tennessee. They'll have the best player. I really like Dalton Knecht. He's having a great season. And I think he's the type of player that could carry them to a Final Four offensively. Utah State versus Gonzaga. Give me Gonzaga there. I don't know too much about Utah State. I don't know a whole lot about Gonzaga this year either, but I'll pick Gonzaga there. And then we'll go with between Oregon and Tennessee. Could be super wacky, but we'll go with Tennessee there. So we'll go Tennessee versus Gonzaga. Could Gonzaga get back to a Final Four out of a weird pod in a year where they haven't really been that good? Am I really going to pick Gonzaga back to a Final Four? Because I just don't know that I can picture Tennessee all the way to the Final Four. I think that's the toughest part. I don't know that I can picture Tennessee all the way there, but I can't picture Gonzaga there either. But I'm going to picture Gonzaga. Let's get weird. Why not? So we'll go Gonzaga to the Final Four. We have a Final Four of 3-seed Illinois, 2-seed Houston, 2-seed Arizona, 1-seed Houston, and 5-seed Gonzaga. Between 3-seed Illinois and 2-seed Arizona. Give me Arizona in that one to face off against Houston in the national championship game. Houston winning that game. And of course, you got to put a tiebreaker in there. So Houston will be the national championship in the Something About Sports podcast. 2024 NCAA Tournament bracket. Got a chance to talk to some teams. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I need to get some sleep. Thank you guys for listening. We had to do this episode. People have been texting me and asking me if I was going to do some NCAA tournament content. So had to at least get back and get this going. So thank you guys for listening. I appreciate you for always supporting. I appreciate you guys that have been asking about it and checking in on me. We'll see how this tournament goes. It's always a fun time of year. I'm excited to get it going. And until next time, guys.